Hi everyone, good morning. I hope y'all are doing great today. Yeah, we got more snow. It seems to be non-stop, but it's not freezing cold out, at least today. Oh, look at this. Whoa, that was slippery. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, the old rig's just waiting. He's waiting. Okay, buddy. Today we're 45 forecast for a high with flurries. So I don't know how that happens, but come on. Oh, and we've got this weekend supposed to hit 50 with a 100% chance of rain. I don't know, I guess that's better than 15 degrees and 30-mile-an-hour winds. So I mentioned in the last video that I had to go over to the post office and mail some certified letters, and that was a whole story. Well, today I'm gonna tell you what that whole story is about. Not good. It wasn't good. So let's hear why I had to send my first certified envelopes in my life. Never had to do that before. So this used to be one of Lefty's favorite places to get great grass over here, but it's all been leveled. So I'm using a new drone that was sent to me from Hover Air. I had their X1, their original version. This is their new X1 Pro. Way more features, shoots in a higher resolution. It has an LCD screen right on the face of the drone so you can see what setting you're in. You can change settings right from the drone itself and not have to use the app. It also will fly over water now. It has an omni-terrain feature, meaning it'll fly over anything. The previous version and some other drones won't fly over water, but you turn on that omni-terrain feature and it'll fly over anything. I really like this thing. I can't wait to get out. It has a faster follow speed. You remember on my motorcycle and my bicycle, I could outrun the X1. Well, this one goes way faster and should be able to keep up with me no matter how fast I go. So thank you, Hover Air, for sending this to me. Look down in the video description for links. All right. Okay, hi everyone. Now we're back inside. So I'm sitting here at the computer and I'm finishing up what has turned out to be a real pain in the butt. So I mentioned in a recent video I was going to the post office. I had to mail some certified letters. So I'm going to tell you why I had to do certified letters. I've never had to do that before. When we were driving back to New York, it was just after we'd left my friend's house in Oklahoma. So we had 3 more days of traveling left, and I got text message and emails from my 2 credit card companies. Both of them have like identity protection monitoring, you know, as part of the credit card. And they both were like, hey, we see that you have a new account on your credit report. And I'm like, what? You know, when we're driving. So the next time we stopped, I have a Discover card and a Chase card. So I go to the Discover website and it has just a brief summary of my credit report. And sure enough, there's this new account that I don't know what it is. And so I'm thinking to myself, I haven't done anything that requires any kind of financing. Like the last thing I financed was one of the motorcycles. And then when I sold it, I paid that loan off. But that was, what, 2 years ago? And I haven't done anything that requires financing. So I'm confused at this point. And I look at what it said on the credit report, and it was WFNBA. So I don't know what that is. Quick Google search, it's Wells Fargo. And so then I knew, because I've never banked with Wells Fargo. So then I knew that this was something fishy going on. We still had like 3 more days of driving. That was the first day after we left my friends in Oklahoma. That was the first day. So we still had a couple more, 3 days total to get here. So I just kind of backburnered it in my head, because I had enough challenges those last few days, especially the last couple, driving in the single digit temperatures. So we got back here to New York, and once we got settled, I dug into this to figure out what was going on. So the first thing I did was I contacted Wells Fargo. Now, not a customer of theirs, so I just basically, I went on their website and I found, like, on their customer service, like, fraud page, and there, found a phone number, and I called them. It was funny because they answered the phone, thanks for calling Wells Fargo, can I get the last 6 digits of your account number? And so I had this, kind of in my head, like, scripted, and I said, just real quickly, because I didn't want to, I wanted it to be clear. I said, I'm not a Wells Fargo customer. That's how I started what I said. But I have just been notified that there's a new account on my credit report, and I went and looked, and it's from Wells Fargo Bank, so I'm calling y'all to figure out what's going on here. This first person I talked to, they took my name and with my social, they looked up and said, okay, we do see that there's actually a checking account, a Premier checking account, Premier savings account, a debit card with like line of credit, like overdraft protection. So she transferred me to a different gentleman. And so I explained to him what was going on. He looked it up and he said, okay, what he can do is he can cancel that debit card right then and there. That was what he could do. So these were all a bunch of different departments, I came to find out. So he froze that debit card so it couldn't be used anymore immediately. And then, I got his name, confirmation number. I have a piece of paper around here somewhere with all of this. Every person that answered, I write their name down because I was going through a lot. I spent like probably close to an hour on the phone with Wells Fargo. So he canceled the debit card. Then he transferred me over to people that could handle the checking and the savings account. The good thing was they were already fully briefed. Like when they got on the phone with me, they already knew what was going on. They had the account information, the accounts right there in front of them. So the handoff was good, right? I didn't have to go through the whole story again. They had to go through like a script of questions. And one of the questions that he asked me was, have you ever shopped at, I think it was called Gas? And I said, no, I've never heard of it, and I've never shopped there, no. So that was a clue, right? And then the last question that this guy asked me was, so you do want to, I just want to verify you do want to close these accounts effective today, whatever the date was. And, at first I was like thrown off, like, I felt like they're not my accounts to close. They're not real accounts. But I said, yes, I want to close those accounts. And then I just kind of threw in at the end, they're not mine, So they just have to ask all these questions, I'm sure. So they took care of the checking and savings accounts. So now all the Wells Fargo accounts are gone. They're dead. So it turns out that the accounts were opened, and then 1 month later is when I got the notification. So it must take 1 month for those things to hit my credit reports. And then immediately my 2 credit card companies that have access to my credit reports, that's when they notified me. So it was exactly 1 month. So they opened the accounts. 1 month later, I got notified. And then now we're talking, it was like 5 days later is when I was on the phone with them. So the accounts had been open for a month and 5 days. So now I've got to get these things taken off my credit report, but like more importantly, I don't want them using my information that they now know is good information, you know, that they could go open other accounts using my same information. So I called Discover, their identity protection package that's part of my credit card, and I worked through Discover, and they work with Experian, you know, which is one of the three. You got Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Those are the three credit agencies. Okay, I just went and got all the paperwork. So Experian, Discover works with Experian. They had someone from Experian contact me. So I think it was 2 days later, they contacted me. I got on a call with them, and so they helped me understand what I should do. Now, I'm going to go backwards in time because I think it was 2023, I got notified by that Discover card identity protection that my info had been found on the internet somewhere, dark web or whatever. And at the time, I didn't think that much of it. You know, it was just one of those notifications that came from my credit card. And honestly, I didn't do anything about it. And I should have. And then I got 2 more notifications from them over the subsequent years. Same thing, that my info had been found. And I'm thinking it's just one of these data breaches that happens from like my old cell company, Singular Wireless, that I don't think exists anymore, like that they got my name and an old address or something like that. So I wasn't thinking that it was really serious and that it could really bother me. But when I got the last one, the last of those 3 notifications, I sat down and looked into it, and I put a fraud alert on my credit reports. A fraud alert puts a notification in there so that anyone that's applying for credit has to go through, they have to ask for extra information to prove the identity of the person that's there trying to get a loan or whatever. So I put a fraud alert, and a fraud alert, you go do it with one of the 3, and it puts it on all 3 of the credit reports. So that's like the first thing I did back when I got that alert, the 3rd alert from my Discover card. And those last for 1 year. And so now you see where this is going. That year expired like October, and I didn't put it in my calendar to go and renew it. So now my credit reports are basically free and clear to be abused. So the first thing she did was she immediately put a fraud alert back on my credit report, which puts it on all 3 of them. And the next thing to do was you have the option of putting a credit freeze on your credit report. Really, it was actually really easy. I did it on each credit bureau's website, didn't have to send them any information. And now a credit freeze means no new accounts can be opened at all unless I go and unfreeze that credit agency, that credit bureau, so that the loan can get access to my information. Now that I have credit freeze on all 3 of them, I feel a lot better because no new accounts can be opened. So even though my info is definitely out there and somebody proved that it worked, they can't get any new financing, loans, whatever in my name. Then the last thing I had to do was get that stuff removed from my credit report because it showed balance of 0, so it wasn't like a negative. You know, it wasn't like that I owed $10,000 and I wasn't paying it. And that's what I was trying to figure out. What are these people actually, what are they doing, right? Like, what's the end game for them? Well, I got a little clue about that, and I'll share that with you in a minute here because something really interesting showed up in the mail eventually here. The certified letters. To get an item removed from your credit report, you know, you have to file a dispute, and you have to do that individually again with each of the 3 credit bureaus. So I had to file a dispute, and The young lady from Experian that sent me the info, she sent me pre-typed letters, cover letters to send with the other information. You have to send, proof of identity, proof of address, and you have to file a report either with your local police agency, or you can go to the ftc.gov and file it's like victim of identity theft report. So I did all of that. So then I had to send the letters. I did the Experian one on their website because they had like I probably could have done it on the other two's websites also. The woman from Experian that I was dealing with, she suggested mailing them certified mail and sent attached cover letters. So I did the Experian one on their website. They had like a document upload, so I was able to upload the documents. And that's one of the things that if I wasn't here sitting next to the Samsung color laser printer, scanner, copier, fax machine over here that Mom has, because I used to have the exact same one. It's sitting right over here in my house, and I gave it to my daughter when we moved out of the house. And it's a big monster color. It's a great Samsung machine. And so Mom got one, the exact same one. And, it does everything. So if I wasn't here with the ability to scan my driver's license, print letters, print my proof of bank statement, the FTC report, I had to print all those things out. If we were out in the mountains of Colorado and I had to deal with all of this stuff, this would have been, probably could have gotten through it, but it was nice to be here and to be able to print this stuff out and, get everything in order. Thank you, Samsung printer, scanner, fax, everything machine. Something going on. Hold on. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. The knuckleheadicus was getting a little noisy. Speaking of, Lefty's birthday is in a week. He's going to be 13. And I've noticed his hearing is not the same. What are you doing? Don't give me that look. Come here. Come here. No. Come here. Oh, okay. Yeah, his hearing, it's funny because I hadn't thought about that. And one day I was talking with Mom about Lefty and something he, was doing or something he'd done. And she said, well, maybe his hearing is not as good. He can still talk. And then when she said that, I'm like, because definitely this last year, when we were out hiking and stuff, I thought he was just getting like old and grumpy and crotchety because he wasn't paying attention to what I was saying to him when we were walking. There's a cardboard box down there. And so I thought he was just getting old and grumpy. But I think I wasn't getting through to him. And I notice it now, like he can be laying up on my bed snoozing in the afternoon. And like one day Dalen got here and Dalen's got a new puppy. So she had her little dog Fritz. And now she has a black German Shepherd. I've got to get her over here so I can show you the cutest dog. So soft. Oh my gosh. But Dalen showed up one day with the dogs and Lefty slept. He didn't hear a thing, laying up here. So he definitely still hears, but it's like his long distance hearing. And another thing, like when we first got here and we were, walking around the area, like if a car was coming up the road behind us, he he was acting confused. Like if I had to put a word on it, it was like he seemed confused. You know, he was flipping his ears and stuff, and a noise that he's heard a million times in his life, a car coming up the road, he was like acting like he didn't know what it was. So one thing I noticed too, like when I talk to him, so I talk to him a little bit louder than I used to, just in case. But like if we're walking and I go to talk to him, he stares at me. I think he's reading my lips, to be honest. I honest to God, I think he's reading my lips. I kid you not. But you got to remember, I've been saying the exact same things to him, the exact same phrases for so many years that I almost don't even need to say something. Like I clip him to the leash, and I always say, hold on, because I got to get the door swung open. And, you know, I say it every time, but I don't even think I have to say it. And probably if he hears a little bit of my voice, he knows I'm saying, hold on. So he stands back and waits for me to swing the door, that kind of stuff. There's so much of the routines and the habits that we have that when it comes to me and giving him direction and stuff, close quarters, he looks at me and my mouth is moving, and he knows because of the situation. I think he knows exactly what I'm saying, you know. But he's still here, you know, like I say things to him and he reacts exactly correctly. But I think his hearing is just not what it used to be, you know. But he's good. He's all good. So he's going to be 13 here in a week. Actually, we've got a couple of packages over here that came that I want to open. So back to my story about the credit. Okay, so I disputed the item with all three of the credit bureaus, one of them online and the other two by sending those certified letters. And so far, Experian has removed it. They did their investigation and they deleted that entry from my credit report. TransUnion got back to me. They have deleted it from my credit report. Equifax, they sent me a letter. It says they're working on it now and they'll get back to me as soon as they complete their investigation. I also got a letter from Wells Fargo that they did their internal investigation. They said that I am not financially responsible, that those accounts were made, they were opened fraudulently, so I'm not on the hook for any charges or anything owed to Wells Fargo. Thank you. I'm just waiting on the one credit bureau to get back to me and say that they're going to delete that listing off of my credit report, and then that will be the end of this whole situation. I mean, this could have been really bad, and I keep checking my credit report. Thankfully, in today's, you know, you can go and look at your credit report like all the time. It used to be, a credit report used to be this mystical thing that you had to get mailed to you. You remember those days way back? As soon as I hear back from that last agency, then I'll know that this is done. But in the meantime, we got in the mail one day, Mom's like, you got mail. She'd stopped at the mailbox, and it was from Wells Fargo. And it was a bank statement, and it was sent to my old address, but then forwarded here. And it's Wells Fargo Premier Checking statement, and it has the activity for the month period, you know, from when they first opened the account. So what they did, 8 days after they opened the account, they did a $30 deposit electronically from some, I'm not going to read the name of the website because it might be some really nasty bank wire transfer website, so I'm not even going to say the names because I don't want any of you going there. But they did a $30 deposit electronically, and I'm guessing that was like a test, right? To see that the account was still open. And then 9 days after that, listed under items returned unpaid, it looks like they tried to deposit a check for just under $2,000. It was $1,924. And it has, in the description of this check, there's a bunch of information. It's got a person's name, and it looks like it was a fake, like, payroll check, because it has enough info here that I was able to Google, and I found this person. The reason that the item was returned unpaid, I'm guessing, is because this guy already figured out that his account had been compromised, and that so they returned that check. So it looks like these people opened these accounts. Now, when they went to the furniture store, that's the other thing. So I looked up Gallery Home Furnishings that one rep had mentioned to me on the phone. It's in Ohio. I think it was Effingham, Ohio. You know, I've never been there. I went on their website, and like on their page about financing, getting furniture financed, there's Wells Fargo. They finance through Wells Fargo. So they go to the furniture store. They're able to, they probably do this at a furniture store or something because they're not as stringent as if you went to a bank to open all these accounts. So was the goal to get these bank accounts, or was the goal, did they get a truckload of furniture? Because again, the balance showed zero due. And if they had gone there and gotten 10 grand worth of furniture and put it on that debit card or financed it, there would be a loan in that amount, and there wasn't. So, but I'm guessing they got a bunch of furniture. I don't know. The checking account, they deposit $30. They try to cash or deposit this fake check, and it gets returned, it gets kicked back unpaid. So then another bank statement showed up, and it just showed that the balance was still $30, so they hadn't tried to do anything more. You know, now the accounts are all closed. A bunch of crap heads in this world whose sole job is to try to figure out how to screw people, right? How to mess with people. People that, you know, people like us, we haven't done anything wrong, just living our lives, and their sole focus, full-time job, is to how to get over on us and get stuff for free or get money. You know, obviously they're trying to get money, cash money, through this bank account. You know, are they ever going to get caught for doing this? I don't know. I doubt it. Like, is Wells Fargo, you know, they could obviously go and however this check was deposited, like if a person physically walked in the bank to deposit this check that bounced back, you know, they can go back and look at camera footage, I'm sure. You know, they're on the hook. Wells Fargo is going to be on the hook for whatever these people did. The furniture store, you know, I don't know. I don't have the whole picture. So the takeaway from all this, if any of you get a notification that says your info has been found on the internet or the dark web or whatever, take action on it, right? Credit freeze, at least a fraud alert. The credit freeze, you know, and again, I'm not expert on this. There's no downside to it. The only thing, like I said, if I wanted to go and actually get a loan or credit on something, I'd have to go and unfreeze whichever credit bureau they're going to use so that they can get my information to get the loan. And then I can put the freeze right back on. So that's the only, and I'm not going to call that a negative. That's just an extra step that would have to be taken. You know, I ignored it. Then I did something, but I didn't follow up on it. And then fast forward to here we go with people hijacking a furniture store and getting fake bank accounts with my name. It was so weird to have this show up in the mail, this bank statement for a fraudulent account. So weird, right? So these people are out there $30. I'm sure they're not getting that back out of their bank account. So their little test deposit of $30 is gone. I'm sure they're willing to eat that because they're going to make it up on somebody else, right? Oh, so let's see what, okay, I've got 2 packages. This one actually, I think this is the one, yeah. This showed up in Quartzsite after we had left. So I had the young ladies that run Galaxy Travelers Outpost. That's my mail service I use in Quartzsite. They forwarded it to me. It got that shipping. Then it got shipped from Arizona here to New York. And now we can finally open it. So I want to see what we got in here. Well, you heard that, huh? From Scott. You gonna play with that bag? From Scott. This is, I think I know what it is. It's a mirror? I cannot, this, I don't know why they printed this on, Amazon printed it on a sticker stock. I cannot read this. The type is, it's a suction cup stick on with a peel off face. I think it's a mirror. It's gotta be. Let me dig into this. Scott, thank you for sending it. I appreciate that. I know, I'm trying to remember, there was something that happened in the rig. No, this is mine. You can't have it, buddy. You can't have it. Thank you, Scott. There was something that happened in the rig that I think that is in response to. I'm trying to remember what it was. That trip across the country, I'm trying to block that out of my memory. It was a good trip. And I got to tell you, the rig ran, it did. It ran perfect. You know, even in single digit temperatures, the rig ran perfect. And I never got that P1211 code, not even once. Not even once. And I'm wondering if that hotshot stuff, like I said, if that actually solved. Oh, this, I know who this has got to be from. Hey, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Hold on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh. Hold on. Oh. I can't. Yeah, from Paul and Nancy. Thank you for the coffee. Thank you. I've been drinking, I don't have any McCafe. That's my favorite, you know. Paul and Nancy, thank you. And thank you for these, for the Knuckleheadicus over there. Oh, freeze-dried chicken hearts. Oh, yeah. Oh, buddy. We haven't had these in a long time. He's getting one right now. Huh. Oh. Oh. Oh, these are big ones. There was a different brand we had before of these, and they were smaller chickens, I guess. Okay. See, when I raised my eyebrows, I trained him to... Okay, one more. I'm going to show people how you do that, okay? Okay. Go, boy. Easy. Don't inhale it. Okay. See, he loves these. Oh, they're good, huh? Thank you, Paul and Nancy, very much for the gifts. Him and I have been together. He was a little under a year old when I got him, so it'll be a little over 12 years that him and I have been together. I know. That's my boy. Am I talking about you? Huh? Oh! All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me talk to the folks real quick. That's enough. Okay. 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 Well, thanks for being here with us and listening to me ramble on about identity theft and very frustrating, but I'm glad I got it solved. Everyone take care. Be safe. We'll see y'all again real soon.